Shri Prabhupada ki. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Iti Namine. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Prachani Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschat Pradesh. I'm requesting anybody who is age 12 to 20 to just show your hands, raise your hands if you're age 12 to 20. Is it okay for me to ask all of the youth who are age 12 to 20 to come up to the front, please? Oh, they're in Sunday school right now? Okay, many of them are in Sunday school. That's fine. We've got some young adults here. Thank you. I'm very, very honored to be here at Iskcon Brampton, such an amazing temple and community. Been serving here for 2 days now with the Leadership Parenting Workshop, and see many of you here as well who were at the workshop. Today's talk will be about resilience. We will start with a prayer to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda. Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda. Jaya Veda Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Jaya Veda Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda. Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda. Jaya Veda Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Jaya Veda Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Is it your practice to do Jai Radha Madhava before you do class? Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Today I am beginning the talk with a verse from the Chaitanya Bhagavat that was recited by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to Lord Nityananda and Haridas Thakur. Just so I have an idea of everyone who's present, can I have a show of hands of, do you know who Lord Chaitanya is? Okay? For those of you who don't know who Lord Chaitanya is, he is the most magnanimous incarnation, combination of Srimati Radharani and Sri Krishna, and the highest expression of the divine personality of Godhead. He arrived on this earth planet 500 years ago to save all of humanity, every single living entity in this creation, by giving them pure love for Krishna. And so you can please respond. Shino Shino Nityananda. Shino Haridas. Shino Shino Nityananda. Shino Haridas. Sarvatra Amar Agyai. Karho Prakash. Sarvatra Amar Agyai. Karho Prakash. Prati Ghare Ghare Giya. in every single town, in every single village on this planet, and knock on their doors with sincere humility. Speak the name of Krishna. Tell the residents to worship Krishna and give the most important instructions of Krishna, the Bhagavad Gita. Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ki. So this instruction has been given to us by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, Srila Prabhupada, that we must go to every home, in every town and village, and give the name of Krishna. My greatest fortune, by the mercy of the devotees Radha Gopinath Prabhu, Janaki Rani Mataji, Prema Garangi Mataji, and Ainshri Prabhu, is that I have come to your town here in Brampton, Iskcon Brampton, Greater Toronto area, by also the blessings of Bhakti Marg Swami and Vrinda Mataji. And it is completely covered in snow. I haven't seen this much snow in probably a good 10 to 20 years. I grew up in Iskcon. I was born near Iskcon, Chicago in the late 70s. My father and mother were preaching at the Chicago Temple. Also had taken up dentistry. They had 3 clinics, but they were full-time engaged in the temple service, arriving at the temple every morning at 3:45, completing the entire morning puja, Guru Puja, Mangalarti, and service there, then heading out for work, coming back in the evening. In those days, the biggest flavor of the Iskcon Chicago Temple was book distribution. I know there's going to be a cool announcement happening soon about book distribution for your temple. And when I see the snow here, it reminds me of those early days when we were younger. After that, we moved to Iskcon Devasiddhan Mandir, Detroit, where I attended Gurukul there for a good 9 years. After that, we traveled, we moved to a few other temples where my father served as the temple president and gave up his dentistry completely to become a full-time preacher. Since then, I'm now residing with our family in Dallas, in the Dallas community. And so, I wanted to speak to you all because as I was coming here, I got in the car. I'm not used to the snow. My shoes are not closed-toed shoes, and it's very cold. And my socks got completely covered in snow, and of course the snow, at first it doesn't feel cold right on your feet, but then when it starts melting, it gets all wet, and then your toes start freezing off a little. So I was remembering in my childhood also as how that had happened. And I was thinking about all of you who take so much sacrifice to live in this cold weather. Perhaps for you it's no longer a sacrifice because you're used to it. There are so many sacrifices and so many problems that we face as Bhakti Yogis, just even as human beings, but even more so when you add the level of Bhakti Yoga on top of it. Surely, Sunday afternoon, many of you would prefer to be at home, chilling, watching TV, eating mac and cheese on this cold day, and cuddling up with whatever your children, your family members, and relaxing. But how each and every one of you have taken the commitment to come here, regardless of the weather outside, and arrive to worship their beautiful forms of Shishirata Giridhari. That commitment that you have taken shows the quality of resilience. Resilience is the combination of the 3 qualities described in the nectar of instruction. Utsahan, Nishchayad, Dharyat. Utsahan means enthusiasm, Nishchayad means confidence, and Dharyat means patience. As we are progressing spiritualists, and so just also so I can get an idea of who all I'm speaking to, can I have a show of hands of how many of you have been practicing Bhakti Yoga for more than 1 year? Okay, let's do this a little differently. How many of you have been practicing Bhakti Yoga for less than 1 year? Thank you. And how many of you have been practicing for less than 5 years? Less than 5 years. 5 years or less. All right. And how many of you have been practicing for 10 years or less? All right. We'll keep going because we've got a lot of hands that haven't come up yet. How many of you have been practicing for 15 years or less? Wonderful. And 20 years or less? Okay. And now we're going to go the other end, 6 months or less. So a few more people. Okay. Thank you. As we're practicing Bhakti Yoga, as we're trying to figure out what is the spiritual path that we're on, we are going to be faced with many impediments. The impediment today, with my skirt getting all wet and my shoes getting all wet, was just a teeny tiny little small impediment that I faced in coming to the temple. There may be thousands, millions of impediments that you face in your progress in your path to Bhakti Yoga. I am not a stranger to impediments. In my counseling and mentoring services for Bhakti leaders and for non-Bhakti leaders, I find people are faced with so many challenges. Just last week, a young 35-year-old man came to me and spoke to me about how he really, really wants to chant the holy name of Krishna. He has made a commitment to chanting 8 rounds every day. But in his commitment, he's struggling with his faith. Because as he continued upping the number of rounds he was chanting, he realized that his friends around him, they started treating him worse than he had expected, those that are non-Bhakti followers. As a matter of fact, his relationship, which he had going steady for 2 years, crumbled. And she was no longer interested in being with him. And Gopini to Mataji, how is this possible? I thought by practicing spiritual life and Krishna consciousness, my life would get better. Parents also share. Parents and teenagers share. That as we're giving our children more interest and importance to wait, you gotta hang on, you gotta stick with the principles, you have to follow the rules and Ekadashi and stay focused on your japa and on your service. In their social environments, they find struggle, challenges no one can relate to me. The teenagers tell me, I can't answer the questions that my friends have. I can't relate to my friends. I wanna go hang out with them, but my parents say no. Challenges. The world around us is completely different than the world we are trying to practice. A 28-year-old young lady found out that she has cancer. She's trying to practice Krishna consciousness, but now she can't do her service. Her life is filled with radiation, chemotherapy. Luckily, she doesn't have children. But many of us, every single one of us, every single person in this room has a life-threatening challenge. I'm no stranger to challenges. My husband struggled with cancer. My son struggled with a brain tumor. Constant challenges happen in your life, whether it be social challenges, whether it be illnesses, whether it be parents and children. And all of these challenges make you wonder, what is the purpose of this bhakti path that I'm following? Is it really all that it's meant to be? I thought devotees and those who worship Krishna are supposed to have it easier. Why is Krishna doing this to me? Is there a God? Where is that God? How is there so much suffering in this world? Forget the world. Why am I suffering so much? question may arise. And so, the prayer is to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Kala Kalir, Balina Indriya Vairi Varga, Shri Bhakti Marga Ihakantaka Koti Koti Ruddha, Ha Tvayami Vikalaha, Kyamaham Karomi, Chaitanya Chandra Yadinadya, Kripam Karoshi. The Bhakti Marg, the beautiful path of Bhakti, is covered in thorns, my dear Gauranga Mahaprabhu. These thorns make it so difficult for me to progress. When I wake up in the morning, I think, I don't want to go to the temple. I don't want to pick up my beads. The beads become as heavy as bullets in the bag, bowling balls in the bag. Have any of you been bowling? Show of hands of who's been bowling. Yeah, those are pretty heavy. And then you're supposed to use that to knock down all the pins. Better have some strength there. And your bead bag feels like, okay, I made a vow, I should do it. I guess I need to do it. Unless, I'm sure there's some great personalities who love to chant, love to sing. But the holy name stays far away. Kala Kalir, it is the age of Kali, of quarrel. And even if I'm doing okay in my bhakti, in my spiritual path, sure enough, someone's going to come at me with some problem. And that takes my mind away from my focused goal. And so today I wanted to show you your bhakti path real quick on this chart. What is your goal? Stay focused on your goal. And how do you develop utsaha, nishya, dhairya to keep going? And so some of you may already be familiar with this. I'm going to do this as quickly as possible. It starts off with Ado Shraddha. Can I hear each of you say Shraddha? Shraddha. Faith. Faith means the deep knowing that no matter what, I am an eternal servant of Krishna. I am full of knowledge, full of bliss, and I am eternal. That means this deep knowing that no matter what type of impediment comes my way, I am protected by Krishna because I am like his protected property. Everything on our bhakti path is based on this knowing, this deep knowing. Ado Shraddha, Tata Sadhu Sangha. Can I hear you say Sadhu Sangha? Sadhu Sangha means hanging out with like-minded people, other devotees. Because when you have faith and your faith's a little weak and you hang out with someone else who has strong faith, they can help you along. Oh, do you know? Prema Gurni Mataji shared with me yesterday, I felt like it was Krishna telling me such and such. I felt like Krishna was giving me the answer to that. You hear someone else say it, it reminds you, oh, maybe I didn't see Krishna in my life this morning, but she did. So Krishna is there. Krishna will take care of us. So Sadhu Sangha, devotee association, which is what you are all doing once a week, increase it. That's the second layer, Sadhu Sangha. Bhajana Kriya is our third path. Can I hear you say Bhajana Kriya? Bhajana Kriya. Can we have a member of the audience tell us what does Bhajana Kriya mean? Anyone? Nama Sankirtan, chanting and hearing. Bhajana Kriya encompasses all 9 processes of devotional service: hearing, chanting, remembering, worshiping, serving the lotus feet. All the 9 processes of service is Bhajana Kriya, or devotional activities. We'll call it service. Faith, Sadhu Sangha, devotee association, and active service. So just having devotee association is not enough. Active service means Rishikesha, Rishikena, Savior, Bhakti Uchate. Every single one of your senses engaged in active service. like those who are cooking in the kitchen, like the devotees who are teaching the children, like anybody who's wiping the floor, worshiping the deity, anyone who is doing the devotee association and bhajana kriya then gradually moves up to the next stage. Please respond. Anartha Nivritti. Anartha Nivritti, now what happens when you start engaging in pure devotional service with a bunch of devotees is that your impurities start coming up. The example is given as, just as when you make ghee, the impurities rise, all the negativity is going to start. As a coach, I'm a leadership coach, a life coach, the clients that are the best clients are the ones who have a ton of drama. Because drama means trauma. It means you can work with them, you can solve their problems, the problems are coming to the surface, and those problems are the ones that you can identify and solve very quickly. And so, anartha nivriti is when your problems start coming up. You start getting annoyed at each other. Oh my God, I went there and she didn't even ask me if I wanted to be a part of the festival. I can't believe he insulted me like that. All of a sudden you start having issues. And those issues don't mean that the bhakti process isn't working. The issues mean that the bhakti process is working very, very well. You keep going. How do you keep going? The way that you water, now this was supposed to be a path and actually it's described as a creeper. But the way that you keep walking and keep going on the path is through hearing and chanting the holy name of Krishna. That's the most important part of the bhajana kriya. Once you get past the anartha nivritti stage, you reach nishtha. From nishtha, asakti, ruchi, bhava, prema. And we're going to stop here for today's session, but ultimately you want to get to prema. Prema is pure love of Krishna. And when you experience prema, every single living entity you come in contact with, you become a transparent vaya medium. You become just a giver of the Lord's love. The words you speak, the interactions you have, though you always are feeling Krishna is with you and Krishna is here to connect you to each and every individual, each and every living entity. Most of us are trying to reach the stage of nishtha. It is said in the scriptures, it takes one lifetime to reach the stage of nishtha. It takes a second lifetime to reach the stage of bhava, and it takes a third lifetime to reach the stage of prema. Now, Srila Prabhupada has given us such a powerful system of chanting the holy name that you can bypass those 3 lifetimes and go up in 1 lifetime. And especially Gauranga Mahaprabhu has given us that blessing. But the thing is that as we're walking along this path, we find so many impediments. And those impediments make us feel like we can't keep going. So right now, I'd like you to turn to a buddy that's sitting next to you. And I'd like you to think of 2 impediments that you face. 2 thorns that are on your bhakti path. Please share with somebody that's sitting next to you. We'll do that for 3 minutes.
itself is your own health, what you want to do. The second circle is your family, which can be an impediment because you have to obviously perform responsibility and duties that are assigned to you. You've taken up being in this particular world. The third circle would be your social circle. Sometimes you have to pay attention or be part of it. And then the fourth circle, I would say, work, which basically should be the second or first circle.
Thank you. He gave a very good general understanding of all four areas where there's impediments. Anyone want to share a specific, very specific impediment you are facing? Yes.
So there are two that we can think of. One is flickering mind.
Flickering mind. Raise your hand if you do not have that impediment.
The second is seeing negative things in devotees.
Seeing negative things in devotees. What a beautiful. Thank you, Prabhuji, for sharing. Anyone else? Over here on the Mataji's side? Impediments you face in bhakti? Yes. Health issues. Absolutely. Thank you for sharing. Yes?
Family, everybody's not on the same page towards.
When your entire family is not on the same page. Thank you. Anyone else? Back there? Yes.
Inattentive chanting, like you cannot focus throughout the chanting.
Inattentive chanting. Okay. We don't have very many impediments in this room. That's kind of cool.
There's so many.
There's too many to mention. You don't know which one to choose. So how do we solve these impediments? We come back to that verse of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Shino Shino Nityananda, Shino Haridas, Sarvatra Managya Karahu Prakash, Pratik Hari Hari Gya Magi E Bhiksha, Balo Krishna, Bhajo Krishna, Karo Krishna Shiksha. The scriptures, the Vedas, give us so many rules and regulations to follow. Did you know the nectar of devotion tells us that you're not supposed to wear blue or red in front of the deities? There's a long list of 64 instructions, and then another long list of 125 instructions, and then another long list, and that's just one book. Keep going through the entire Srimad Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita, and you'll have long, long, long lists of instructions. But Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has given us a shortcut. How do you deal with, in Kali Yuga, the millions of impediments that you will be faced with? It's very, very simple. You share Krishna with someone else. That's it. Now, we tend to be really shy about sharing Krishna with someone else. They're going to make fun of us. They're not going to understand us. They're going to stop coming to our house. They're going to stop inviting us to their birthday parties or their events. They're going to feel judged. There's so many reasons why we don't feel comfortable to share Krishna with someone else. If you share Krishna, the knowledge of Krishna with one other person, seems like some devotees are sharing Krishna with each other right now. If you share the knowledge of Krishna with one other person, then immediately you develop the resilience to keep going. Because the confidence that's hiding in your heart, the faith that's the underlying foundation for the entire path of bhakti, becomes so much stronger. And suddenly, just by saying to someone else, hey, I wanted to share with you something I'm learning, your knowledge and your identity becomes solidified. Because if you don't have the confidence in Krishna and in the bhakti process, you won't be able to share it with someone else. I work and manage a school that's a leadership academy. For age 3 to 6, 6 to 9, we've got preschool, all the way to high school. And the number one most important instruction we give to even the 3-year-olds, and even the 5-year-olds, and even the 8-year-olds is learn it and teach it. Learn it and teach it. The 3-year-olds are learning how to cut strawberries in a Montessori classroom. They sit there cutting the strawberries, and a friend comes over and they show how to cut the strawberries. The 8-year-olds are learning how to make equal groups in multiplication. That multiplication means 5 groups, so 6 is 5 times 6. And so they get their little stones and their little activities out to make those equal groups. Sure enough, oh, what are you working on? And they share it. The older children teach the younger children, and many times the younger children are also sharing it with the older children. That's immediate leadership. And immediately dropping into a space where you have to share something with someone else solidifies your bhakti process. And it develops resilience. Resilience is one of those qualities that no matter what the obstacle is that comes your way, you can surpass it. And resilience is needed, not just in our workspaces and in our family spaces. Resilience is needed in our Krishna conscious spaces. I just assisted a dear friend of mine, Premasindhu Prabhu, in leaving this body. He had 10 months of cancer, and he struggled personally and physically. So myself and 2 other devotees went to the hospital an hour away from our community and worked with him every day to help him manage his pain. Through this association with this Prabhu, I learned that, well, we had already known, but he was a fencing coach, and he had coached 3 Olympic students. They came to visit him at the end days, and the students sat and told me how he taught them resilience. From 3 o'clock in the afternoon until 9 o'clock in the afternoon, an 8-year-old child would be up and doing physical exercises in order to develop their physical stamina and develop their resilience. His first fencing student, who was an Olympic champion in the Rio de Janeiro Olympic Games, Mona Shaito, she told me that at age 13, she fought up against a 300-pound fencing champion, and she won, because she had developed that resilience. And when I talked to Premasindhu Prabhu about, okay, what was your strategy, because I was writing this book, Leadership Parenting, the children teach the other children. As soon as they get strength and know a specific skill, they're partnered up with someone else that they guide. It makes them know it more carefully. So this lesson Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has given us, Shino Shino Nityananda Shino Haridas, Sarvatra Amar Agya Karo Prakash, Pratik Hare Hare Kiya Magi Hi Viksha, Balo Krishna Bhajo Krishna Karo Krishna Shiksha. If you want to develop the resilience in the bhakti process, and the beautiful thing is, you don't have to do it alone. As soon as you share Krishna consciousness. Now, how do we share Krishna consciousness? Do we go to like our next door neighbor's house and say, do you know Lord Brahma has 4 heads? No. Do we go and tell somebody that we know, why are you eating meat? You shouldn't be eating meat. Don't you know that you're hurting the animals? No. How do you share Krishna consciousness? What you're already doing here. You give the holy name, you sing musical instruments, and you sing. You feed. Feeding prasad is the best way to share. And you make friendships. You actually make friendships. Bring them home for Thanksgiving. Have Christmas events. Hang out with your friends. Talk to them. Increase your loving relationships with them. In the Nectar of Instruction, Dadati Pratigrinati Guhyam Akhyati Prachati Bhunte Bhojayati. There's 6 ways to make friendships are shared. Sharing gifts, accepting gifts. Sharing food, accepting food. Sharing secrets, accepting secrets. You make actual friendships. In the purport to that verse, the Prabhupada says, any member of the society, Iskcon society that does this with any other member will be able to revive the dormant love that is in their hearts. You do not need to ask another member to shave their head or come to the temple and worship the deities in order to revive the dormant natural Krishna consciousness. That's a little bit beyond. That's a little later on. In the beginning, just make friendships. I'm sure all of you are already doing that. That's why you're all here. You have friendships, you have get-togethers. I know I have heard from the temple president. There are active Bhakti Vriksha groups. So please continue doing that. If you want to destroy the impediments in your life, take this secret of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And Bharat Bhumite Hoile Manushya Janmajar Janma Sarthak Kari Kar Par Upakar. We've all been, most of us here are from Asia. I can see, I don't know if it's India or Nepal or what part, but we are all from Bharat Bhumite, from the land of India, from the land of greater India. Of course, in those days, Bharat was the whole world in Yudhishthira Maharaj's time. We have gotten this amazing, invaluable gift of the holy name of Krishna and the process of bhakti. Because why would you all be taking your chances out in this heavy snow, coming here on a Sunday morning? I don't know if I would. And still you're coming, and still you're serving. When you decide that you don't want to do it anymore because it's too hard, remember this. Share it with someone else. And it'll increase your resilience. It'll increase your strength. Because we have only one goal. We have only one goal. Our only one goal is to go back to where we belong. Our home. The spiritual world. Krishna is waiting. He's longing for us. He's waiting. We have neglected our relationship for so long. And what is one little impediment or some small little thorns on this path? How is it more powerful than the Supreme Personality of God's love for you in your heart? So that is my message for today. If you want to develop resilience in the path of bhakti, share it with someone else in a kind, loving, gentle manner. And of course, if you're interested, I have written a book. It's an Amazon bestseller, Leadership Parenting. It's for parents and educators so that we can take the next generation and do what Srila Prabhupada requested of us, share Krishna consciousness with not just those of our race, but with every race in our city and our community and our families. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. I would like to, at this point, invite young Dhruv to please come join me. So in front of all of you assembled devotees, all of his leaders, all of his parents and guides, this young man took 2 years of his life. You can come stand right here, Vijay. Right here, just stand right here. Guys are good. Back straight, strong. He is a young boy that I'm extremely impressed with. He took 2 years of his life at age 13 to 15 to study 4 texts of the Bhakti Sastri in our Bhakti Leadership Academy online. And in these texts, there's Nectar of Instruction, Nectar of Devotion, Bhagavad Gita, and Ishopanishad. 4 texts. There's a lot of work, homework that needs to be done, but also quite a few leadership projects that he did with his teenager friends in groups. It's a real fun environment for the youth. And after that, he received his certificate. I've never had a chance to give it to him in person. And literally, this is the first time this weekend that I've seen him in person after knowing him for 3 years online. And after that, he has served in the Ministry of Education, and he qualified teenagers who complete the 2 years training, then serve with me in Iskcon leadership spaces. And he's so expert in completing the computer tasks, as I like to say, Zoom room management, background stuff, putting together PowerPoints like super fast, which I know this entire generation has that skill. And so just another big round of applause for you. Yadunandan Swami, Tapan Mishra Prabhu, and Srila Prabhupada, I would like to hand Dhruv Desoye this Bhakti Sastri degree. If you have a 12 to 18-year-old and are interested in online courses, I have another group starting in January. Thank you so much, my dear devotees. Hare Krishna. Questions? Are there any questions? So that means everybody accepted 100% everything I said? Any questions? Oh, there's a question.
I'm just wondering what would be the influence of Nishtha? Is it faith or
Shraddha and Nishtha. Nishtha is a very, very, very strong faith. It's not even considered faith anymore. It's more like a complete 100% determined knowledge that I am a servant of Krishna and my spiritual identity is completely set. And Shraddha is like the budding faith, the initial faith that needs to be strengthened. Thank you. All right, Srila Prabhupada the key.
Thank you, Mataji. And thank you for also bringing the certificate for Dhruv. I feel very emotional about this, and thank you very much for taking care of this one in the past few years. Thank you. So now we are moving to the next part of the program. I have some announcement regarding our book distribution from our book distribution team. We, as we announced last week, our target for this year is 2,500 books. So, which means 150 boxes by January 7th. So last week we collected some names of devotees who would like to sponsor the boxes of Bhagavad Gita. So if anyone would like to sponsor the boxes for Bhagavad Gita, you can please contact, I don't see the Dharma Prabhu here, we have Dharma Prabhu is at the back, and also Rasarat Prabhu. So if anyone would like to sponsor boxes of Bhagavad Gita, please contact Prabhuji. And the books that Mataji just mentioned earlier, she's leaving this here, so if anyone would like to take a copy, please do take a copy and then you can do the payment at the front desk. We have more classes coming soon for the adults. So Bhaktivedanta Academy, as I mentioned last week, is starting the disciple course again. So Janki Rani Mataji is facilitating this course. This course is mandatory for all those who want to take initiation within Iskcon, and this is one of the mandatory courses that the GBC has put. So Janki Rani Mataji is facilitating the course. If anyone would like to register, you can contact myself, Ujwala Mataji. And we also have the regular courses, ongoing courses here at Iskcon Brampton, which is the Bhagavad Gita Fundamentals, that goes on every Saturday online. So if you would like to register for those ones also, you can contact Ujwala Mataji. So now we are going to the next part of the program, which is the closing kirtan, and that will be led by Ayala Prabhu and Bhakta Dhruv. So I would request everyone to please stand up and get ready for the closing.